All right. Game Master Ginger and myself are trying this once again. We're going to see if we lose internet again. For my third attempt of this, I'm walking, I'm talking.
He's walking, he's talking.
So, here we go.
Here we go. And I just want to once again say, look, I'm wearing sneakers with my dress.
I see that.
Yeah.
Nice.
No.
And so why are we doing this? Well, let's see, I gotta find out where the camera is and not put my fingers in front of it. So, a couple things. One is I want to stream to get to know some of you a little bit better and talk about some of the stories of my life. And I don't always get it. And then I need to exercise.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, I can listen.
Fresh air.
Wife needs fresh air. Yes, we could. Yes, I could go on the exercise bike. Yes, I could go running. Yes, I could go to a gym. But, you know, walking, I was used to walking as a letter carrier.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, I've seen lots of YouTube videos with people like bicycling or running or driving or even walking. And this reminds me of looking down at our feet. It reminds me of a Gettysburg trip.
Yeah,
I'll tell you. I'll tell you about that another time. Because I have no idea if this is going to work again. So hopefully it will. But give us a like, follow, subscribe, comment, suggestion. Tell us what you think about walking and talking. And we were going to cover Wyrmspan, but also something is on Ginger's mind because she just went for training today for something, and she'll tell you about that. So go ahead. What did you go for training for?
Well, this is why I have a dress on over my sneakers.
Yes.
Sneakers on.
Yes.
I was at the Nassau County Board of Elections. I'm training to serve as a site manager for early voting.
Okay.
Which is coming up beginning this Saturday. And if you're wondering what the heck election is going on, I don't blame you. It's actually the presidential primary.
Right, but there's going to be a lot of other people on the ballot, right?
Nope.
It's only the presidentials?
Well, the Democrats get to vote for delegates to go to the convention. But the main thing, I think Marianne Williamson is still on the ballot with President Biden.
Okay.
I think Chris Christie is still on the New York ballot with Donald Trump.
Okay.
So technically there's a choice, even though we expect very low turnout. But you know what? Democracy is democracy. So come out and vote.
So, but you went for training a whole nother day, 9 to 5, and then another 3 or 4 hours a day, right?
Yep.
5 or 6 hours even.
Yeah. It's, well, the early voting is a little bit different because if you think of election day, like on election day, Dave and I have served as inspectors or poll workers before.
Right.
What you do is you show up, you open up the polling place, the end of the night, you close it, and then, because of our specific role in the process, we're among the many people who bring a whole bunch of stuff to the police station and help lock everything up, because at 9 o'clock, well, after the last voter online at 9 votes, everything gets closed. That's the end of the election. And let me tell you, in Nassau County, wow, every ballot is sacred. It reminds me of that Monty Python song. Every ballot sacred.
That's not how it goes, Ginger. But that's okay. We'll let that one go.
Well, it would.
Yeah.
One time, someone spilled a cup of coffee on a stack of ballots, and it was disastrous because, of course, you can't just throw out those ballots. You have to there's this whole procedure. Every single ballot needs to be accounted for.
Okay.
So the biggest difference with early voting is that the first day, yes, you're opening up the polls, but you don't close it, right? Because the election isn't over till the last voter online at 9 p.m. votes.
Okay.
on election day, and early voting starts 10 days before the election. So it's basically like a mobile voting site. So one Democrat, one Republican, everything's bipartisan.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go with meet my partner, and we meet at the Board of Elections, and we get in a Board of Elections van.
Okay.
That is loaded by a bipartisan team with the polling pads and the ballots and the da-da-da-da-da.
Right. All the equipment you need.
Everything we need. We drive it in the county van to the polling site.
Uh-huh.
Set it up, etc., etc. At the end of the day, you have to pack up anything ballot related. Like, if you have a stapler or whatever.
Right.
Like miscellaneous stuff, that's okay. But every single ballot, even the blank pages, because for early voting, you actually don't have ballots. You have to print it for each voter.
Okay.
Even the blank ones, every single one has to be accounted for, and it comes back home. Board of Elections. Everything's a Republican and a Democrat. It's really interesting. And I would say that if you are concerned about election integrity,
Uh-huh.
I would suggest you get involved and be a poll worker.
Yeah, they are really short people, aren't
Yes,
they?
we are.
And also just for the general election, too, just
Yes.
poll workers and chairs at each station.
Early elections, we're okay with the inspectors, with the people at the table, because it's a shorter day for people.
Right.
And we're able to do it.
Right.
Site managers, not so much, because it's a long day and it's 9 days in a row, so that tends to be a bit much. But
Yeah.
election day, it's just one day.
You were mentioning yesterday when we were talking about this that it's a lot. It's 9 days in a row, and some of the days are like 16-hour days.
Well,
And who can do that unless you're retired?
yeah,
And
16 hours, not so much.
Okay.
I mean,
but it's got to be at least 12 or 14
election
hours.
day is about 16 hours, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
No, it's I think the polls are open 8 hours a day. And then the site managers have to be there an hour and a half to 2 hours ahead of time.
Uh-huh.
And then you have to
So,
close
right.
it out every night.
Right.
So, yeah, I guess it could be a 12-hour day maybe.
Right, but
Or
then
10
so
or 11.
but who can do 9 days in a row? Probably
Well, that's the
a
thing.
person who's retired or unemployed, I guess,
Or self-employed
or
like
self-employed.
I
But
am. And even we are like going to have an insane week next week.
yeah.
So I was pretty stressed about it actually until I realized one of the other site managers in training said to me today, I'm just telling all my friends I'm not available. I'll be back in 10 days. And I thought,
Yeah.
ooh, that's kind of like vacation. So I'm going to think of it that way.
Okay.
Like, obviously I'll be working, but
Yeah.
it's something different. It's something new. There'll be a lot of people around, a lot of energy.
Right.
Even though we don't expect a lot of voters.
Or not. If there's not a lot of turnout, then it might be
Also
might be
have
pretty
the other
boring.
Workers.
Yeah.
And then I also have shore excursions, so to speak, if I'm pretending I'm on a cruise, because Dave and I are facilitating 2 amazing game events next week
Yes.
that
So
I'm excited about. So I'll have some fun too. It will not be all work. It'll be like a lot of fun.
All right.
So consider being a poll worker and vote. Even, if you're wondering, why the heck are we paying all this money to have an election? Well, it's because it's a democracy. So we don't change the rules in the middle. Right? The rules are there so that everyone feels that it's fair. So you just push ahead and you do what you have to do, and there you go.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
And Ginger mentioned some game events next week. We've got hey, thanks for joining us. Give us a like, follow, subscribe, comment, suggestion. And if you can chat. We're trying to do this, and we're trying to do this off of a phone, and I'm not too sure I can see the chat messages. So if you can put a chat message in, that would be great, so we can test this. Oh yeah, Ginger's going to look at my Twitch account on her phone.
I'll try.
We're going to walk a little slower here for a second while Ginger checks that out. unless our one viewer is Ginger on her phone.
No, it says I'm not allowed in.
What?
Because David has to review my configuration.
What?
I guess I don't usually watch from the phone. I usually watch from my laptop. So.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
Okay, we'll
do it
figure
next
that
time.
out. Okay, so but anyway, so she did mention a couple game events next week. So one of our game events is on Wednesday night at the Main Street Board Game Cafe, and
oh my gosh, yeah.
we are teaching Wyrmspan as well as a few other games. I put some advertisement up on my website, GameMasterGames.com.
Wyrmspan is so charming. And
Yeah.
fun.
And Thursday night we're for our inaugural event at the South Huntington Library.
Oh yes,
And I'm
South Huntington. And I used to live in South Huntington, David, years ago. This was my library.
I had forgotten about that because you had lived in
I
Babylon.
love it. Yeah. I love that library.
Oh.
It's just, if you live in South Huntington and you haven't been there yet, definitely come down.
Okay.
Amazing programs, kind staff. That's where I learned the basics of belly dancing. And my introduction to yoga.
Okay.
Not to mention they have books. They have a lot of books there. It's awesome.
Imagine that they got books.
And they also have nice places to kind of like cozy spots to sit and read.
You know, and I say that, I said, I was joking around. Imagine that they have actually books at the library, but actually a lot of libraries are culling their books. Libraries are turning into event centers more than having a lot of books.
Well,
but
I'm going to be reading books on early election days.
That's right.
It's going to be so boring with no voters.
Ginger's going to go to our local library and take out 5 or 6 books, and she'll probably finish all of them in one day. Maybe not, but... So you said Wyrmspan is so charming. Yes, so Ginger and I are fans of Wyrmspan.
Yes.
And Wyrmspan took over the market like wildfire, and I don't know what year it came out, 2022 maybe.
I read about it in the
2021
New York
even.
Times. That's how I heard about it.
Yes.
It was one of the most read articles. It hit that top 10 list on the side of the website page.
Yeah.
Everybody's reading this article about this new game.
Yeah.
Created by an ornithologist.
Ornithologist, yeah, it's amazing. Going with Wyrmspan, you know, each card, of course, tells you all the game information that you need, but if you're a bird lover or bird watcher or curious about bird species, what a game. I mean, it has the type of nest that the bird sort of makes.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the actions of the bird might reflect some of the behaviors of the actual bird. And then on the bottom, it has a little map of the globe, shows you what habitats they live in, and usually a little bit of information about them. Like what would be on other games would be flavor text. In Wyrmspan, they actually have information, including their scientific name. So, pretty interesting. So here we are getting exercise. Thank you for joining us. We're getting exercise and chatting about stuff. So, Ginger and I at the last Main Street Board Game Cafe event, they had just gotten their demo copy of Wyrmspan. I'm sorry, Wyrmspan.
Crack it open.
And so they wanted to crack it open. So we had to learn on the fly.
Well,
and
we were prepared, but we got to
pun intended.
Play it. So, as you can probably guess, Wyrmspan is about dragon species and their environment.
Mm-hmm.
If you're familiar with how to play Wyrmspan, then Wyrmspan will feel similar. Elizabeth Hargrave, the same game designer, was involved.
Mm-hmm.
But there's enough change in the mechanics to make you feel like you're playing something different. But same attention to detail, gorgeous art. And it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of laughs.
Yeah. Ginger taught 2 new people the game. I mean, it was the first time Ginger was playing it too, but we had read the rules and watched some sample plays and stuff online. Yeah. And it's pretty good.
So thank you, Neil, owner of Main Street Board Game Cafe.
Yeah.
It was a great experience.
Thank you for inviting us. Thank you for letting us use a demo copy.
Yes.
I had a really nice conversation with 2 different people there that weren't even playing Wyrmspan with us. And I taught, there was a couple with a 5-year-old girl, so we ended up, maybe she was 5 or 6. We ended up teaching them like 3 or 4 games. That was a lot of fun.
Dad's birthday.
And it was Dad's birthday. And it was the first time they were ever at Main Street Board Game Cafe, which was amazing to me. Like, it was
your local game store, awesome place to go on your birthday.
And I don't think that the parents were what we would call gamers. I don't think they were. I think they just said, let's try something different.
Good for them.
Yeah. And they had some wine, they had some food. The young lady had a great time, and the parents said that they had a great time.
I heard a lot of giggling.
A lot of laughter and stuff like that, too, yeah.
So what's going to happen at the library, honey? South Huntington Public Library.
South Huntington Public Library, we are demoing games. We're teaching games. We're going to bring about 30 different games of all different styles and types and levels.
Yeah.
And that's going to be 5:30 to 8:30 on the 28th of March. And
AKA Holy Thursday.
Holy Thursday. And should be a good time. Let's go one more time around here, and then we'll end it. But now you said Wyrmspan was charming. I said Wingspan again. You said Wyrmspan was charming. What did you think? What was your favorite parts about it that you thought? I'll tell you mine while you're thinking of yours.
Go for it. Tell us what your favorite parts.
I thought one of the actions to have the little guy go on an adventure and go through the caves and collect all the bonuses, I thought was a unique twist.
Yes, the flavor text is that you are creating a refuge for dragon species.
Right.
And so the most popular, the most successful refuge is how you define
getting victory points that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think you can do 3 things generally. You have 3 choices or 4 choices maybe it was. Do you remember?
I don't remember, but it's well done in that everything is written on the board. Each player has a potential action card. So kind of like Wingspan, the first time you play it, it may feel overwhelming.
Yeah.
But for me, whenever I learn a new game, no matter how simple, the first time through is always about the mechanics.
Yeah.
Then I want to play again for real.
Yeah.
And so, but like Wingspan, Wyrmspan, it has all the potential thing. Once you get the general idea, there are all kinds of visual cues to help you out.
Okay.
To keep you on the straight and narrow and get those dragons in. By the way, one of my favorite parts, if not my favorite part, was the detail on these hundreds of dragon cards.
Yeah. Lots of colors and drawing and artwork and
just like these species of dragon. It was amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't know there were that many dragon species. Really didn't.
Well, yeah, I'm sure it's a shock to everybody opening that game. Now the other thing that I thought was interesting was you get coins, and depending on what actions you take, you spend a certain number of coins for that action. And once you're out of coins, once everybody's out of coins, that's the end of the round, right? Is that did I have that right?
That's right. So people might have different numbers of turns depending on how they use their resources.
I thought it was interesting about Digsaw. We've been teaching Digsaw a lot recently. I thought it was interesting with Digsaw was if you finish making all your cuts, you can't make any more cuts. It's not like the game ends, not as soon as one player can't make any more cuts. The game continues until everybody's done making cuts. So, it's interesting. I thought that people can be still playing and some people are done.
So there's not like Dune.
There's not many games that are like that.
Remember a couple of years ago we were playing Dune? This must have been before the pandemic.
Yeah.
We had a bunch of people around the table playing Dune, and one of them, Christopher, got knocked out of the game like within half an hour.
Yeah.
And the game went for like 4 or 5 hours. It was like the never-ending game.
Yeah, all his
so funny.
He could participated in one big battle, and all his troops died, and they were all in the Benny Tylaxo tanks, and you can only get 3 back each turn. You know, actually,
but he was such a good sport. He stayed till the very end, laughing.
When I taught Dune, this is the old Avalon Hill game, Dune, the remake of it by Gale Force 9. When I taught Dune at Dreamation, I warned people. I said, now, you know, you need to be careful. Because of that experience that Chris had, I said, you need to be careful about your pieces, your forces. If you participate in like 2 or 3 big battles early on, you're going to have like 2 turns where you can't do anything. And what did everybody do? They all attacked each other. The only person that didn't attack anybody was the Bene Gesserit. And at one point, the Bene Gesserit had more forces on the board than anybody else. That was a little weird. So, all right, cool. Well,
before we end, honey,
yeah,
I'd just like to give a big shout out to Stacy and Jessica, to Zach and George, to the whole team that made
hold on a second.
Syosset Library's Retro Game Night such an amazing success.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Bill, for coming. We got to play games with lots of... There were about 90 participants. It was a hoot and a half.
Yeah.
It was really a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for joining us on our inaugural, well, it's not technically our inaugural walk and talk, because this is, I think, the 4th or 5th time I've tried this. But thanks for joining us. And that's right about the Syosset Library Game Night. That was amazing.
It really was very cool.
All right, take care, everybody.
Bye. Don't forget to vote. Don't forget to volunteer as a poll worker. You do get paid. I understand it's not worth it.
But
you learn a lot, and it's our civic duty. Got to keep democracy alive.
And March 27th and March 28th come out for Main Street Board Game Cafe and the South Huntington Library.
Public Library.
Talk to you guys later. Bye.
Bye.
Hopefully this is going to end when I press this button. I have no idea what's going to happen. Let's see what happens.